So Gabrielle Union spilled the beans and said that most black actors and actresses are living check to check. And you all should know this, and we all should know this, because black actors get paid a lot less than their white counterparts.
For most, certainly black entertainers, black celebrities, we don't really, for all of the Oprahs and the people who have just a lot of money, most of us are one or two checks away from not having money to pay for all of our things. You know what I mean? So this stoppage of work and money is impacting marginalized celebrities the most.
Out of 607 billionaires in the United States, there are only 5 black American billionaires in the United States. So that lets me know that black wealth is pretty much non-existent. So in the third quarter of 2019, the United States had a net worth of $107 trillion. The bottom 50% of households had $1.67 trillion out of that $107 trillion. And the top 10% had $74.5 trillion out of that $107 trillion of net worth. And the top 1% control 40% of that $107 trillion. So that leaves 99% of the population to live off of 60% of the U.S.'s net worth. So the bottom 80% of the U.S. population owns 7% of that $107 trillion. That's $749 billion divided up amongst 80% of the U.S. population.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
And black people make up 12 to 13% of the population. Based on these numbers, if black people spend almost $1.5 trillion annually, then how much are we worth? But I don't want to bore you all with numbers.
David Oyelowo played Lewis Gaines in The Butler, a movie about an African-American White House butler who served 8 American presidents. Pam Williams, one of the movie's producers, says that some investors refused to fund it unless she gave the white actors bigger roles.
One potential investor asked, could we give the butler a white best friend? I don't think the investors we went to were racist when they said these things. I think, again, they buy into the myth that is white people want to see white people on screen, so how can we put more of them into a black movie to make it more acceptable?
I just want to let you all know that black people in America are the most impoverished group in the country. All of these people that you think are rich and wealthy and have a lot of money, the numbers don't support that.
Until black people are willing to invest their own money, we're going to have to settle for what we get.
Because the majority of the wealth in the United States is shared among the top 20% of the country. So when it trickles down to us, it's only crumbs.
You know, like all those influencers you see who take all the trip, they're in Dubai one week and they're in, you know, some whatever, London the next week and Paris the next week, and they seem to be everywhere. They may not have a lot of liquid income, right? And you can't charge your rent. You have to pay your rent.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
But let me get back to Gabrielle Union. So Gabrielle Union told the truth, and she said that black people in Hollywood are living check to check. And why wouldn't that be the case when black people in Hollywood don't own any share of Hollywood?
She mentioned on Twitter recently that most actors and actresses don't have enough money, that they make $54,000 a year. I think she said the average union actor, and that they need to be paid higher wages because they're living paycheck to paycheck. And of course, this surprises us because, you know, black folks, we dream about becoming celebrities. We worship celebrities. We look up to celebrities. And I would first of all state this as a point of caution. Stop looking up to people who are broke. You know, black celebrities don't have a lot of power. I spent a lot of time in Hollywood. They're kind of characters in a play that was written by somebody else.
We don't control the means of production for anything. Now, we are the fuel for the machine, but we don't actually control the machine.
Okay, is there an Oscar nominee or an Oscar winner who's black, whose career has ever been enhanced by the win of the nomination?
Now, it seems to always be
Not
after the fact.
one. No.
Like after they've already done a ton of great movies, they get an Oscar or something like that.
And then what?
I've already put in the work.
Then what happens?
Right? Yeah.
Whose career has been enhanced after they've gotten an Oscar or a nomination? Anybody? Please tell me, because I can't think of one person. If you're lucky, if you're black and you got an Oscar win or a nomination, if you're lucky, you continue with the career that you already had.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
As I've stated before, black actors don't get paid the same as their white counterparts. And because of that, it makes competition a lot more stiff and steep. And also, we don't control our narrative. So because we don't control our narrative, most of our roles are very niche based, which means you have a whole bunch of black people fighting to play the same role.
Maids, butlers, waiters, porters. In the 1930s and 40s, Hollywood offered African-American actors few roles beyond servile ones.
Was you asking for me, Miss Allen?
The film historian Donald Bogle has called the 30s the age of the Negro servant, and the careers of great performers like Clarence Muse and Teresa Harris confirm this marginality. Too often, these actors were not even credited.
Someone's going to insult you today if you get out of bed.
The off-screen reality was always more complex. However demeaning the roles, they also sustained careers for performers who belonged to another Hollywood, one that included behind-the-scenes activism and the ongoing struggle for creative autonomy.
This is how you see our struggle being glamorized.
Of the nearly 3,000 Oscars that have been awarded since 1929, fewer than 30 have been given to people of color.
I told you and told you.
Many of them for roles based on true stories, therefore could never have been played by white actors anyway.
It's not like Leonardo DiCaprio could play Nelson Mandela.
One of the only ways where black people get to play the lead is literally where there is no white competition.
Most roles that we have don't exist outside of white oppression in some way, shape, or another.
Refusing to be typecast, Dorothy Dandridge vowed never to play a slave on screen. 10 years later, acting roles had dried up and Dandridge was dead of a drug overdose with little more than $2 to her name.
When a black actor wins an Oscar or is nominated, in my opinion, I think Hollywood has sometimes not known what to do with them because the path isn't clear.
You know, our pain is profitable. So you find us in roles such as entertainers or athletes or criminals or drug addicts or slaves or just of people trying to survive through white oppression. And let's not forget roles that have us overly sexualized.
The majority who's gotten an Oscar, it signaled the end of their career. Think about it. Angela Bassett got nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It? What has she done bigger than that since then? Cuba Gooding Jr., Oscar win. What has he done since then? Lou Gossett Jr., what? Since Officer and the Gentleman, what? I don't hear anything. Jennifer Hudson.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
You know
Is it like
I mean?
a curse then? Like
to me, it's a curse. That's why it's funny to me. It's hilarious to me. Everybody who's been nominated. Terrence Howard. What? When? What was the next movie that it launched him into?
Because we don't control any means of production, it's almost impossible to control our narrative.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
And don't get me started on how Hollywood is now taking their talent scouts overseas and getting British Africans to play American black roles.
But did the American accent come easy to you?
No. So I pretty much stay in the accent throughout filming. So most of the crew didn't realize I was British until we wrapped the pilot. So it was because when we finished, I started talking normally and everyone was like.
So eventually, the black actor and actress will be obsolete, will be forced out of the industry.
Hold on.
Say, I go to the store. I go to the store.
So I'm gonna go to the store real quick.
Pretty good. That's scary.
Wait. It even has a little swag up in there.
I'm gonna go to the store real quick.
I'm gonna go to the store real quick. So we would go. We go to Rob, the director. He take me to South Central LA.
Okay.
And he directed the pilot, and he took me down to Crenshaw. And
part of this is due to racism, and the other part of this is due to the fact that we sold our souls a long time ago. Instead of refusing to play all of these stereotypical roles, we decided to make who we are a caricature. We made being black formulated. And so now British Africans or Brits with African descent can now come over here and just basically imitate black Americans.
So I get there, and he's like got a real blacked out car and stuff, and he's like, "What's up, little homie? Jump in, we rolling." I'm like, okay, my South Central for Dummies booklet says we rolling means drive by, okay. So I get in the car, and thank God it wasn't a drive-by. We're driving out Crenshaw, and he takes me to this restaurant called Popeyes.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah. And I've never been to Popeyes before.
Do you know Popeye the cartoon character?
No, I don't know.
You don't even know Popeye, huh?
I didn't know anything. I didn't know if we were gonna eat pasta, chicken. I had no idea.
It's chicken, yeah.
So that we're driving there, and I'm like, what's Popeyes? He's like, man, don't ask no stupid ass questions. Get that biscuit, dip it in the honey. Dip it in the honey.
Wow. This is some dialect coach you've got.
Yes, Mr. Dubsy, yes.
And one more thing. Good luck with you all trying to go over to London and take their roles. Yeah, I'd like to see that happen. You know what I mean, Rod? Mate. And you know if they imitate us, it's the most dumbed down and watered down version of us. Matter of fact, just look at anyone that imitates us. It's never actually an authentic representation of black people.
Well, why don't you get a job and go to work? You almost had me a job this morning. Where? I went down to the post office and asked that man, could he let me have one of them jobs as a letter toter? No, Cotton, you mean a mail carrier. And the man said before he could give me a situation, he'd have to put me through a simple service examination. No, stupid. You mean a civil service examination. Well, the man carried me in a little old room and set me down and started asking me a gang of questions. Well, what'd he ask you? First thing the man asked me is, how far is it from the sun to the moon? He asked you how far it was from the sun to the moon? Yeah, that's what the man asked me. Well, what'd you tell him? I told him if he was going to give me that route, I didn't want the job.
But how could it be? Black people in America are not all the same. We are actually quite unique and very different. But Hollywood created a box, and we jumped right in it.
You know, they are affected by the choices that are made by, you know, whites and Jews who run Hollywood. And God bless them for building Hollywood. They built that for their community, and it allows them to control their destiny. Black people have no such thing. We have nothing. We have no capital base that allows us to manifest our will onto other people.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
We don't control any means of production. So at the end of the day, what we do has to get approved by white Hollywood.
You must understand that when you get to where you're emulating white folks, you're going to run into a paradox. She's going to run into a big surprise that will probably blow her mind when she finds out about it, is that you ain't white. You're not white. You're not white. You see, white liberals have an economic base. You have no economic base in your community. White liberals have billionaires like George Soros, who funded the whole Black Lives Matter movement and pretended that black people did it, right? They own universities like Harvard and Yale and Stanford, where they can go there and push their liberal ideologies on to millions of college students, which is fine. That's what they do. They have media as a power base. The Jewish community built several banks as their power base. They built Hollywood as a power base. So I ask black people, where is your power base? Where is your apple, or where is your tree from which you can, thousands of you can go get apples when you get hungry? Who's going to feed you other than the white man who enslaved you?
I mean, sure, we still have movies on the Chitlin and Netbone circuit, but if we want to get mainstream, we pretty much have to be endorsed by white Hollywood. I've even heard stories of B-list black Hollywood actresses going to Dubai to be some wealthy men's sex slave. And we know what happens in Dubai.
Where are you going to actually find an opportunity to have the same power that that a white guy has, that a white liberal has, where they can pretend like money doesn't matter. They can pretend like they're all into this labor rights and all this other stuff. But believe me, all of that's backed by billionaires who believe in the same mission. You see, black people, here's the reason why I don't believe black people need to be following all that super leftist rhetoric. Now, we can talk about the right on a different day, but that leftist, communist, socialist rhetoric is not healthy for black people, because most of those leftists and socialists that are talking have billions of dollars in their capital base that allows them to speak say all that stuff. I'm not gonna say that crazy stuff because I want to, but seriously, they can speak as crazy as they want to because they got a capital base. Bernie Sanders makes over $1 million a year. So as much as he's talking about it's good to be broke and all it matters is if you go work for somebody and get a wage, he's making over $1 million a year. Bernie Sanders ain't nobody's employee.
It's rough out there. If black Hollywood actors and actresses are living check to check, then how are they surviving? How are they getting by? If a white Hollywood actor or actress has to compromise themselves to be in the industry, imagine what black people have to do. Like I said, it's rough.
I can't think of one person who an Oscar has enhanced their career. Please tell me I'm wrong about somebody. But there's not one white person whose career that it hasn't launched them into the stratosphere.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
Again, racism is not our biggest threat. Our biggest threat is poverty. And poverty was pushed upon us by economic exclusion. So they kept the real money away from us because they knew real money is empowerment. Look how much we've given Hollywood. Look how much black people have contributed to Hollywood, and look how they repay us. They repay us with nothing.
For most, certainly black entertainers, black celebrities, we don't really, for all of the Oprahs and the people who have just a lot of money, most of us are 1 or 2 checks away from not having money to pay for all of our things. You know what I mean? So this stoppage of work and money is impacting marginalized celebrities the most.
And on top of that, they're now saying they don't even want to use us anymore.
Same thing with the left-leaning establishment in general. They own media. They own universities. They have think tanks. They have massive endowments. They have banks. They have all these institutions that they can lean on that you don't have. You see, when I was a little kid, my daddy used to tell me, he said, look, when you go out here in this world and you get in trouble, some of y'all might have had the same parents. You ever have a parent that tells you, look, if you go out here with these white kids and do what they do and you get in trouble like them, your ass is going to be in jail and they're going to be at home with their parents. They're going to snitch on you so they can go home, and your dummy ass is going to be sitting up in jail. And so my takeaway on that point is to say that when you get to the point where you think you can just do what they do and say what they say and it all applies and it's colorblind, you're lost. You're lost. Because here's the reason that black actors and actresses can't get by. It's because you have no capital base. You have no capital base. White actors and white Hollywood, white people have a huge capital base. Other white people own these studios that they're going to work for. Other white people own the foundations. Other white people own the media outlets that they appear on. Other white people own the universities that they speak at so they can go do speaking engagements.
So my only advice is that we create our own. My advice is that we create our own. We have avenues that may not be in major theaters, but we have avenues that we could use.
Black man, black woman, what do you own? You see, you need your millionaires and your billionaires the same way they need their millionaires and their billionaires. When you get into this whole stuff where you make rich people into the enemy and you don't want any black person to do well because you somehow are caught up in this left-leaning thinking or whatever, you're killing your community. You're killing your community's ability to ever have a power base. And let me just say a point-blank period, if you do not have a power base, then you cannot succeed in America. So Gabrielle Union, please put that in your pipe and smoke it. Because this situation that you're in right now, it's going to be the same damn thing 30 years from today. I guarantee it.
We may have to start lower to build ourselves up. But I guarantee if we support what we are doing, they'll come crawling back.
So that means, why are we putting on so much significance for something that has not really served us? Really, I mean, I think, there's a racism in Hollywood that is deep set. I've had a head of a studio tell me years back, you know what? With what you can do with action and drama, he knew I was doing in the theater and all that stuff. He says, you could be bigger than Tom Cruise. Too bad you're black.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to.
Wait for it. Free blacks. Get money. Call.